Welcome back to Music is My Mantra, the place where we explore all things music and wellness. Today, I have a very special guest, Miranda Mitchell, on the show. And before we get started, I'm just going to read a little bit about her background. And I think this episode will be very interesting. We've got some new concepts that I haven't talked about yet on the show that Miranda is an expert at. And I'm very excited to dive in and learn more. So, to kick things off, Miranda Mitchell is an embodied leadership guide, voice activation mentor, and creator of the Dancing with Shadows and Stillness Oracle deck and web app. She guides creatives and soul-led leaders to reclaim the power of their voice through the lens of human design, gene keys, and galactic astrology. So many questions. With a deep devotion to deconditioning, shadow work, and embodied self-expression, Miranda's work is a portal, awakening remembrance, resonance, and the soul's original frequency.
Hmm.
Awesome.
That feels
Welcome,
so good.
Miranda.
Thank you. When you read that, I was like, oh, that feels so good.
That's how it should feel. Yeah, I love that we get to connect today. I think, there's so many overlapping spaces that we sort of just touched on in our pre-call. I'm excited to have you. And you obviously have a wellspring of knowledge with both the voice and your healing work. I want to start with a little bit about your background. So,
Mhm.
you have a podcast of your own, as I mentioned in intro. But before that, tell me a little bit about how you got into this wellness space.
Oh my goodness. It starts a long time ago. I've been always connected with the body. First, it was through, I went to college for sports and health sciences with a BA in exercise science. So I did personal training for many, many years. And then from there, I ended up finding yoga.
Hmm.
And it's interesting because when I've noticed for when I'm learning about myself and reflecting on things in the past, that everything shows up for us for a reason. And a lot of the times we don't see it in that moment. So I found yoga, and it was when I was pregnant with my daughter. And this space gave me time to slow down because
Hmm.
I was a single parent with two boys. So I
Hmm.
had to be very active and hard and like, very masculine and
Hmm.
feminine at the same time raising the
Yeah.
boys. And then I got pregnant with my daughter. And during that process, I really started connecting with yoga and
Hmm.
slowing down a bit.
Yes. Yes.
So I started slowing down, and then I started really loving yoga so much because I love how I felt afterwards. And within the
Hmm.
physical space, everyone was talking about the way they looked and never being happy with their body and never like, it was always like not enoughness. Whereas
Hmm.
yoga was like, it didn't matter what your body looked like. It was how you
Yes.
felt at the end of that shavasana, right?
Hmm.
So I loved that feeling, and that gave me an awareness of where I was not slowing down enough.
Mm.
I like to say my daughter chose me to be her mother for me to learn about self-love because I was always very loving, compassionate towards everyone else. But when it
Yes.
came to myself, I was very motivated, perfectionist, all of
Hmm.
these things. I expected a lot of myself.
Yes.
And my daughter, her birth date was supposed to be on my birthday. Like there are so many
Wow.
things
Yeah.
that come into play, right?
Yeah.
So I started learning about slowing down, not always pushing, pushing, pushing. Then I ended up finding myself with the yoga practice. I wanted to teach it. So then I got certified
Cool.
and I ended up teaching yoga for about 10 years and I still do it periodically.
Hmm.
But within that space, it's like, okay, I'm guiding yoga, but I want to support people going deeper. I want to know what questions to ask, like what's coming up with emotions and somatics.
Yes. Yes.
So then I went to school for coaching, transformational coaching, NLP. And from there, then I found human design, which brought me back to learning about myself in a new
Hmm.
lens. Because I
Hmm.
thought with yoga, it's like, am I making this stuff up, this feeling that I'm feeling here?
Yeah.
But with human design, it gave me the tangible tools to see what I was feeling was actually the truth for me. So
Hmm.
it was like a confirmation. And then from there I went to the Gene Keys, and then from there I went to Galactic Astrology. And I truly feel like everything in my life has happened for a reason. I had a very traumatic first part of life, I would say. I
Yeah.
moved out at 14. I lived on the streets. There was a lot of stuff that really
Wow.
showed up.
Yeah.
But I do know that everything was given to me for a reason. I've always known that I was here for something bigger.
Hmm.
And I truly feel I was given all of these things to work through to be able to have compassion and be able to help others through this process of self-love and
Yes.
stepping into authenticity.
Awesome.
That's
Thank
a
you for
long
sharing.
story.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And how old is your daughter now?
She's 13.
Oh, that's awesome. So I'm sure you guys, are you close with each other?
Yeah, because I've
Yeah.
made a lot of decisions
Hmm.
based on her human design chart,
Mm.
which I would have never done
Yeah.
previously because it isn't social norms
Yeah.
in certain things.
Hmm.
And the minute there's two things that she said to me so far that just like makes my heart so happy. The first was like, because her and her father and I are separated.
Hmm.
The first was, you're the only one that gets me. I
Mm.
can express anything with you. I can be my authentic self and know that you always love me, even though I lash
Oh,
out because she's working through emotions and stuff.
teenagers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And she's able to come to me through this and know that I'll support her. And that's another thing that she said
that's
to me. Because then I
awesome.
was like, okay, I hope she doesn't feel that I'm like her friend because
Hmm.
I listen to her and I let her make her a lot of her own decisions and then I guide her in things that I don't feel are appropriate.
Hmm.
And then just recently she said to me, she said, well, I don't know what it was about, but she's basically said, you're more so my mom, but you're also my friend. And I was like, okay,
Oh,
that's what I want. Like, I
yeah.
need to have that aspect so she understands that I always am looking out for her. And if she's going to make a huge mistake, it is not going to happen.
Yeah.
But yet, if it's a little small thing, I'm going to let her learn her lesson
Mm.
because that's the only way that we learn.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You can't control her at the end of the day, right? So,
no, and I don't want to control
yeah,
her.
totally. Totally.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Well, so I think I've briefly mentioned human design on my show, but for people who have never heard of it before, can you give us just like the top line rundown of what human design is?
Yes, it's the reason I was drawn to it was because of the chakra system,
Hmm.
because of my yoga. Eastern
Hmm.
philosophies always felt really yummy to me, and chanting always felt really good. So it is based on astrology, the chakra system, the Chinese I Ching, quantum mechanics, and I always forget one. I don't know what the other one is. It's not coming to my head, but it takes all of these traditional modalities
Hmm.
and combines them and then gives you a tool. And this is what it gave for me, it gives you an imprint of your energy the day you were born. So when you put your birth date, your birth time, and your birthplace in, you
Hmm.
get this blueprint, it's called. And when you look at it, it looks crazy. It looks
Hmm.
like I have no idea what the heck all of this is about. But when you start to break it down in understandable things and learn to integrate it one at a time,
Hmm.
then it makes a lot of sense. So I love it because by looking at the chart, just looking at the chart, you can see where there's colored in areas.
Hmm.
If you think, okay, anywhere that is colored in, that is what I give to the world. That's the energies that I give to the world. And within that, there's archetypes yet you learn, like the archetype of wisdom or inadequacy or whatever it is.
Yep.
And then wherever there's white in the area, that is where you receive energy from the world. So it's like, okay, I'm here to give this energy. I receive a lot of energy. So who I'm around is important. So a
Hmm.
lot of my decisions in life, like if you have an undefined G center, that's love, direction, identity.
Hmm.
If you are around people that are negative or lost, you're
Hmm.
going to take in that energy and you're going to amplify it and you're going to embody it. And if you
Hmm.
don't know this about yourself, then you
Hmm.
think that something's wrong with you. When in reality, it's like, ooh, I need to make better choices with my friends.
Yeah.
So,
I have an undefined G center.
oh, do you? Do you
I
have an
do.
experience with that?
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest thing, sorry, what did you want
No,
to say
no,
more?
go,
Okay.
go.
I just wanted to make sure that I feel like that was a pretty good, summary because when you're first looking at your chart, it's like, what am I looking at? It's just, unlike anything, it's like you said, it combines all these different things. So there's just many different layers and aspects to discover, right? But for me, the biggest thing that helped me through human design was just like giving me permission to communicate better. And that really did, they call it like the great experiment, right?
Yep.
So that using it in that way just sort of allowed me to be more assertive and more just direct. Like I think that's a problem that we're all sort of conditioned as women to not be direct, but especially in my design, it's like it says this is how you should communicate communicate with the world, and that has definitely helped me with my confidence and just even, you know, getting new clients and that sort of thing. So, yeah, it's definitely an interesting modality. Do you find that the Gene Keys has
Mm.
helped you to understand human design?
So the gene keys I love so much as well because I feel like the human design aspect is masculine.
Mm,
I feel like it's more of a masculine, tangible evidence of what you can see. Ra downloaded the human design during a supernova in 1987, and his conscious sun was in gate 58, 51, I'm sorry, which is all about shock. He was here to shock people into awakening. That's what he was here to do, and that's what human design did.
mm,
He studied with Richard Rudd, studied with Ra for a very long time.
mm,
And then Richard started receiving these transmissions called the gene keys. And these transmissions are based on the energetics of human design,
mhm,
yet they're more subtle. It's more of a connection to the physical body. And I feel like it's bringing me back to the Eastern philosophy of kind of contemplation and
mm.
stillness.
Yeah.
So with the gene keys, it gives you the opportunity to witness the shadows that are in your activations
Mm,
in the human design chart. So each one of the activations in your chart, there's an archetype within each gate. So
mhm,
each archetype has a shadow frequency, a gift frequency, and a city frequency. And this gave me the opportunity to recognize my shadows that I already knew were there. Like these are things that keep showing up for us, of course,
yeah. Yeah.
because it's in our design. It's what we're here to, I feel like it's what we're here to learn. Like
Mm,
these, if in like inadequacy is mine, my
mhm,
biggest one, it shows up in my gene keys and my human design numerous times. It's in my
mhm,
conscious sun. And I always had this drive to have to excel, get all the certifications, make sure I'm on Dean's list, like all the things. And then I realized that it was like, that was a way of me proving my own value to myself because I wasn't enough. Because the
mm,
48 is all about not being enough. So then when I saw that, it gave me the opportunity to reflect on all the times that I thought I wasn't enough and then appreciate, okay, well, you've supported me in everything that I've learned.
yeah.
But now I get to learn because I want to, not because I'm not enough.
Yeah.
So it gives you the opportunity to love the things that you thought were wrong with you. And also, it teaches you that this is part of you. Like if you're saying you want to get rid of doubt,
Mm,
or if you have a 63, or if you want to get rid of inadequacy, or if you want to get rid of fear of failure and you have the 32, it's
yeah.
like if you're saying that, you are telling yourself you only love yourself conditionally because
Mm,
this is the shadow of what you're here to learn. So when those things show up, it's actually a gift for you to say, where am I not honoring myself? Where am I not living by my design? Where am I projecting out onto the world? So I definitely feel like the combination is very powerful because that's how I've learned it. You
yeah.
know, I learned
Yeah.
it through the masculine and now the feminine aspect of it. So I feel like everyone is different though. And if
Hmm.
you're drawn to one more than the other, then trust it. Only you know what you want or feel drawn to. Don't do it just because I say, well, human design first, right?
Right. Right.
Because we're all at different levels. We all have experienced different things.
Yeah. Totally. I actually initially thought that they were one system. I didn't realize like they were two different ones. So I've learned a little bit about both for myself. And you have on your website a place where people can go and actually find their chart, right?
Yes.
So that was really cool. I did it for myself, and I love that you have some explanation there because, for other sites, if you go there and just get your chart, you might, if you don't know how to read it, if you haven't already learned a little bit about human design or the gene keys, it might probably won't really mean much to you. So I love that you include that in there. And for our listeners, if you are curious to get your chart, I highly recommend going to, is it just mirandamitchell.com and then
Yeah, it's Miranda-Mitchell.com. Yep.
thank you
Mhm.
for that correction. Yeah. And so I totally have both of those channels, like the doubt and the inadequacy that you're talking about. And I think the doubt might be a little bit more pronounced in my chart, but for sure, it's been eye-opening to think about those things and the way that it's showing up and, the way that I can get so in my own head about things when it's not necessary.
Yeah, and a lot of the times too, let's say doubt shows up for you in something,
Hmm.
then it's an opportunity to say, okay, if I'm doubting this, is it because I'm nervous about jumping to the next level? Is
Mm,
it because I'm fearful that if I succeed, that this will happen? Or maybe I'm fearful if I don't succeed and then I'm viewed as a failure. Like there, so
yeah.
anytime that a shadow shows up, you get to ask yourself, what is coming up for me? And then with that awareness, you then choose to do differently
Hmm.
rather than stay in the doubt. You're like, oh, okay, I'm in doubt. It's because of this. So I'm making sure that I'm going to do this.
Yeah,
And you
different
step
actions.
over.
And
Yeah.
that's part of the experimentation, right? It's like you can never just read this and then it's like it lands. It's definitely a process.
Yeah. And, love that you said that because, we grow in
Hmm.
life. I'm definitely not the same person I was 5 years ago, 1 year ago. So this is like a lifelong thing. It's not like you're gonna just go through it once and everything's gonna be perfect.
Hmm.
Because then what happens is, let's say you're here to learn through relationships and a new relationship comes in and then inadequacy shows up again. So it's like these
Yep.
things will always keep showing up and it's
Just in
because
different
you're up
ways.
level.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's actually what I love about it is like, okay, I'm witnessing this, go back. So I've been like
Mm,
experimenting for like over 6 years. And
yeah.
sometimes I'm still going back and going, oh my gosh, I'm not in my four line in my profile. I'm not going out. I'm herbiting too much. So
Yeah.
it's just like that realization
Yeah.
and understanding it's never going to be done ever. But it's how you go about it.
And that definitely felt pretty freeing for me to come back to that. And that was a realization that I had after looking deeper into the gene keys. Because, like you said before, I think that so much of what we think about healing is that we're like getting rid of something. But like you said, it's just like an onion, you peel off more layers and then you get to deal with more, but you are progressing and up leveling and things evolve as we grow. So that's part of the healing and evolution process, which can be like the cosmic joke, I think, the universe. But
Yeah.
it's it's also really cool that these tools exist. So let's talk a little bit about, well, okay, I have two two things I want to talk about. Obviously, the voice work that you're doing, but before we go there, let's let's learn a little bit about galactic astrology because I'm not familiar with that and I'm curious how that ties in with everything else that you do as well.
Oh my goodness. I know that's the second time I've said this. Galactic astrology is, my newest finding.
Okay.
I purchased the certification 2 years ago and I started diving into it and I got scared. I was
Mm.
like aliens and galactic holes and all this stuff. It got a little like I wasn't ready. Right timing. Everything in human design is right timing. So I was like, I put it away and I was like, okay, in right timing, I know I'll come back to it whenever. So it was for 2 years. In May, the beginning of May, I got really sick. I had COVID again. And anytime I get COVID, I end up really releasing and it's almost like an initiation into things.
Mm.
So I felt drawn to go into the certification. And for 2.5 weeks, that's all I did, like going into the certification. And I knew it was right timing because of everything that I was creating with the voice. I've been shifting a
Hmm.
lot of my offering and how I word things because I felt like there was something that was a little off. And then
Mm.
when I found Galactic, it went all into everything that was off.
Mm.
And
Funny
so,
things. A line like that.
I know. And that's
Yeah.
when things happen like that, it's like, okay, thank you. Thank you. I know I'm on the right track, you
Hmm.
know?
Hmm.
So what galactic is a basic seating here. It goes into the depths of like in astrology, it goes into the sextiles and the squares
Hmm.
and all of those dynamics, not dynamics, all of those numbers, you know? And then they bring in like the galactic center, the galactic attraction. So what that is like a black hole type of thing where you are drawing information in. So what happens is you put your birth date, time, and place in again, and then
Hmm.
you get this chart where it goes into Neptune, Uranus, like it goes all into the basics, but then it also goes into the connection to these realms of the galactic level, the
Hmm.
deeper levels of Mars and all of that in the galactic realm. So within that, you then learn your past lives and you learn your story of past lives and truly why you're here. So what I learned, because I studied my chart when I was going through certification,
Hmm.
it was like I have a lot of activation, square, trines, whatever, to the galactic attractor, which is all about consciousness. I have a connection to Lyra or Lyra, which
Hmm.
is the first, it says that's where I was first incarnated. It's more so like the sound, and this is where the music comes
Mm.
from,
Okay.
the sound of the earth before all the noise, like that hum, and I
Mm.
always have this feeling with those sounds, the tribal and the earthy
Hmm.
sounds. It then showed me that I had lives in Orion, which I was both the suppressor and the up oppressor, or the suppressor and the oppressor. I think those are the two. Like I fought and was suppressed, and it all came up: suppression of voice,
Mm.
suppression of knowing too much, suppression being exiled. It showed that I was exiled in Egypt for which I did an Egypt trip, and then I got COVID and I was actually exiled because of COVID.
Whoa.
I was exiled for knowing too much, for saying too much. So
Hmm.
everything has to do with the voice and the frequency of the way that
Hmm.
I speak,
Mm.
which is everything that I was trying to connect the dots with before
Yeah.
with voice.
So you already were working with the voice before this, but it just connected everything deeper for you.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, and I know a lot of people, it shows in my chart too, and I'll just say this, that I'm always ahead of the times.
Mm.
Always. And because of this, I often feel misunderstood on the outside, like no one gets me, which has been my entire life.
Mm.
And it does show that in my chart. And it stated to me, like, do it anyway,
Yeah.
because those that are ready will hear you.
Mm.
Just because you're first or one of the first to talk about it, and it may be difficult, I'm a catalyst for this.
Mm.
So move towards it and continue to do it anyway, rather than waiting, because waiting isn't going to help others.
Yeah.
So, and that made me cry because
Mm.
the being misunderstood
Yeah.
has been a lot of my healing. Like I used to not say a lot. I
Hmm.
suppressed my voice
Hmm.
because I felt like no one understood me, or I'd have to explain myself, and I didn't know how to explain things because I just knew things. I didn't know how to put it into words.
Sure.
So, yeah, so that's what galactic is. So
Okay.
what I feel is like human design,
Hmm.
it gives you the awareness of where you're conditioned, where you need to release conditioning, how you're here to put yourself out into the world with your profile. The Gene Keys then helps you understand your shadows and love yourself for all the things that you felt were wrong with you.
Yeah.
And then the galactic gives you the overarching, like, remembering of really of what you're here to bring humanity
Mm.
as we evolve, because there's a lot of chaos right now,
Yeah.
and there's always chaos when things are changing.
Hmm.
So even though it's horrible, it's happening for a reason. And for those of us, it's like remembering what we're truly here to do. So for me, it's about releasing the voice, stepping into the feminine,
Mm.
activating the feminine, and truly expressing and helping people express their authenticity through their voice.
Cool. So yeah, let's talk more about that. I mean, obviously, you said before you learned about Galactic, you were using the voice, and I want to hear it from you, but I think you mean through like chanting and yoga and that sort of thing, right? Or
Oh,
okay,
all things.
tell me all, yeah. Tell me like the transformation, like how has the voice helped you? Obviously, there's the speaking element to it, and I'm sure that your podcast has probably helped in some way. But I want to hear like the musical side also. Yeah, when was the first time that you really realized like there was something here?
Well, it came in
Waves.
spurts.
Yeah.
So with my yoga teacher
hmm
training,
hmm
I had no idea what I got into when I was doing yoga teacher training. Like the first day we had to teach in Sanskrit, and I was like, and then she brought chanting in.
Mm,
And I had never done chanting, but it was my favorite part.
cool.
Like it brought something,
hmm
and I would have never known that. So the chanting was the first thing. So
hmm
I started chanting and doing all that, and it
Was
felt really amazing.
okay, so
Yeah.
vowels and Sanskrit.
Yes, in
Yeah.
Sanskrit, also like the opening mantra in Ashtanga yoga practice, like it was always chanting. And then when I went to human design, I when I saw my chart, I looked at how I suppress my voice. I have a lot
Mm,
of activation to my throat. Like I
yeah.
have my sacral connected to my root, connected to my spleen, connected to my throat, connected to my will. Like all of this stuff was connected to my throat.
Yeah.
And I never expressed myself because I always felt misunderstood. So
Mm,
when people would ask something, I would be shy. I felt inadequate. I wasn't enough. And then
yes.
my face would get all red and I would start crying
Oh my
because all
gosh.
this energy was coming to my throat and I was too inadequate to
Feeling
share it.
overwhelmed. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
then when I saw that in human design, I was like, no wonder I have thyroid stuff. No
Mm,
wonder all of this stuff is happening. So that's when I started the podcast. I started expressing and inviting people on and communicating.
yeah.
And then from there, because of that, I realized through my studying human design and the Gene Keys
hmm
that the voice is actually what I'm here to really step into. I'm here to speak. I'm here to guide people. I'm here to do
Yeah.
that. And then when I found Galactic, it was just like, okay, it's the frequency of your voice. So,
Mm,
what is the frequency that you're doing? Is it in alignment or are you projecting out into the world? So, what I've been doing is kirtan. I go to kirtan.
cool.
I talk about things that people don't understand and let it be okay.
hmm
I do podcasting and I talk about opening the voice through
hmm
chanting, voice journaling. A lot
Mm.
of the times, like when you journal, reading it out loud, because I've worked with
Oh,
people that are they've suppressed their voice so much
yeah.
that they don't know how to express it and it's very fearful.
Mm.
So by just sharing things, like in a community base I have, like to share anything,
hmm
there's no judgment,
hmm
start expressing because then when you start practicing, you'll start saying the things to other people.
Yes.
And then also supporting them in the fact that sometimes when you do that,
Yeah.
you lose people, you lose friends. Sometimes your family members don't understand you because you've been conditioned to be this person that doesn't speak the truth.
Yes.
And as soon as you do, they resist it. So
Yep.
then you doubt it. So it's like support in actually saying the things, being
Yeah.
acknowledged for the things, not judging them for having anger. So it's truly about not suppressing. If
Yeah.
you feel
Yeah.
like you need to express something, make sure your frequency is good, but express it. And I feel like a lot of us, I mean, women especially,
hmm
are conditioned to be people pleasers, to keep the
Yep.
peace.
Yep.
I mean, think about it. When we're kids, we
hmm
are taught to be nice, to share your toys, even though
Yep.
you don't want to like, we're taught to give and
hmm
think of others before ourselves. So at a
Absolutely.
young age, we're taught to not prioritize our happiness, our expression, and who we are. We're prioritizing other people.
Yep. And to be a good little girl and be quiet and be polite and be kind. And not that those things aren't bad, but when it's suppressing, it's like, why can't we have both? Why can't we express ourselves and still be a good girl?
Right,
You
right.
know?
And there's been definitely times too, because I suppressed for so long,
hmm
that when you end up finally saying something, the tone is off. And then you
Yes.
end up like it's the hardest thing for me sometimes to
Mm,
say the thing. So I have to
yeah.
like work up to it. And then when I say it, the tone's off and then they react. And then it's like, okay, we have to calm down and then go back. My tone is off. I'm practicing. This is what I meant.
Yeah.
So it's
That
not
is
like a
such a
one-time thing.
huge thing. I was just talking about this yesterday with a friend where we were talking about roommates and how we manage conversations with roommates. And she's like asking me if I'm very direct or, how I go about these things. And yeah, I think the tone is so important. And so I was saying, whenever possible, I try to approach my roommates in person because even if you send like a text message, there's no tone. You can't feel the energy or the frequency coming off of that, right? And so for me, I've just learned that it's better to get into a good space and headspace as well as like physical space and then be like, hey, like, let's talk. And, getting to that space of peace before you have those conversations is work in itself. And if I think so often it's like we finally say something, but then it's like all of the resentment that we've been holding on to is tied to it. So it comes off as like angry or emotional. And that's what can trigger somebody else, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's having compassion for yourself when that happens because there's
Yeah.
been so many times that you haven't dared to say those
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
or
It takes
felt like you
practice.
could.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So after, if that does happen, that is when you go back and you apologize and you have it. It's not going to be like it's going to be perfect, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
acknowledging that about you, and eventually you'll get to that space that you're
Mm-hmm.
able to express authentically without emotion attached to it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's going to take time. So it's always with compassion. I even teach that with meditation. It's like
Mm-hmm.
start with 3 minutes and have compassion if your mind wanders all the time.
Yeah.
Go back to it. Have compassion if you skip a week. Don't
Mm-hmm.
judge yourself. Go back to that 3 minutes because it's about the repetition of going over
Absolutely.
and over without the judgment of self.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I've talked about that many times on my podcast, and it's great to hear, that your expertise acknowledge that as well, because I think especially when you're starting something new, there's so much pressure, and you have this idea that you want to be this person or this artist, or you have a vision for yourself, and it's just not. There's always like that learning gap. And that's just, it comes with practice. I have a few questions for you on top of that. First
I
of
love
all,
questions.
yeah, well, how is your thyroid? You said you had some issues. Like, has that shifted since you really dove into this voice work?
Well, I've had thyroid stuff for about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mentioned, when I was younger, I had a lot of traumatic experiences. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely lived in fight or flight my entire life until probably 28 or so.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that and the suppression of not saying the things for so many years,
Yeah.
totally burned out my thyroid.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened is for 10 years I was feeling really bad and I thought it was allergies until my body was like, "Hello, Miranda." So I
Yeah.
ended up getting alopecia. So I had no hair, like all my hair was
Oh,
falling out
wow.
and I was shaving my head for months, for maybe 2 years. I went through the healing process. So I had
Mm-hmm.
to heal my gut.
Yeah.
Really what it was is my fight or flight. I was stuck in fight or flight even when I was sleeping. I mean, it was
Mm-hmm.
just what I'd been living in.
Yeah.
So I work with a functional medicine doctor who is amazing, and she really worked with me on understanding like I have Epstein-Barr. So
Mm-hmm.
what happened is that triggered a certain life experience because I was in a marriage that was not good,
Mm-hmm.
very traumatic. So it was just kind of like a combination of all things.
Yeah.
And I am still on thyroid, but it's going well now. Like
Yeah.
it's
You can see like progress instead of,
oh, definitely. I
yeah.
have my energy back. I remember my daughter was younger at that point and I couldn't even read a book to her. And it's like, I'm so
Wow.
tired. I couldn't even do that at 6 o'clock. And it's like, I need to have a quality of life and I need to be here for her.
Yeah.
So if I need to be on this, then I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what a transformation from, it sounds like all of alopecia and all of that, I mean, would you say that that was like a rock bottom moment for you? Or
Had so many but rock bottoms.
yeah, I know, I guess it's hard to say. Like, I mean, it's just you've obviously overcome a lot, and it's just really awesome to see that it seems like this work is continuing with your growth and your evolution.
Yeah, it's at that point in time, I will say, you know what? It didn't stop me. I was just really starting my business.
Hmm.
I just graduated, or I was just graduating my coaching, my transformational coaching,
Hmm.
and I was just starting to do workshops. And I was not afraid going out with a shaved head, telling my story,
Yeah.
connecting with people. I told my story online. I had so many people reach out to me and thanking me that they had dealt with alopecia but hid it because it was so embarrassing for women.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just little. Like
Hmm.
some people get a spot.
Yeah.
I had like half of my head. It was like all, so I
Wow.
would shave half of my entire head except for like one side. I had like the
Hmm.
side thing going on. My daughter
Hmm.
was embarrassed, and I was like, why are you embarrassed? Like this is
Hmm.
something that I'm going through. So it supported her in learning to be authentic and
Hmm.
okay if things are not perfect.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was honestly a gift.
Hmm.
And I didn't let it keep me down at all. It made me work even harder. And it's so
Yeah.
funny because in my human design, I have the 2838
Hmm.
channel, which is struggle and fighting for the things that you believe in. So it's like, of course I'm going to persevere over that because you're going to give me a challenge and I'm just not going to let it like get me down.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I think it's really hard for people to feel like they're the only ones when they're going through it. And so not everybody can really step into that place of bravery and putting themselves out there like you did. So thank you for persevering and being you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's always inspiring, and I think you're just a testament to this work, and like the modalities that you use are specific to you, but I think the themes are the same. That like when I'm writing a song or coming back to myself, it's always similar where it's like you have to keep going and trying new things and putting yourself out there. And I'm happy to share your story and your message because I know that there are more people out there that also have a voice. Well, I believe everyone has a voice worthy of sharing,
Mhm.
but maybe if they're hearing this, this will be the cue to be like, "Hey, it's your turn now. Like you get to share what you've been through and put yourself out there."
Thank you. When you were speaking, the music aspect came up and singing and movement. So when I was younger, the thing that I wanted to be the most was a choreographer. I would spend hours
Mhm.
outside in this field with my boombox. I mean, that shows my age. With
That's
like
awesome.
rewind, play, like and choreograph
Awesome.
these dances. And it was the music and the movement of dance that helped me connect with myself, you know? And then as I got older and I was going through stuff, I went to clubs and danced, but it was through the lower frequency of partying. And then 2 years ago, I reconnected with ecstatic dance.
So cool.
And I love ecstatic dance because
Yeah.
it's totally, you don't communicate with other, I mean, you can, but it's nonverbal. It's an internal practice. It's like non-alcohol. It's like
Hmm.
very wholesome,
Yeah.
and the people very wholesome. And that's when I reconnected to music and dance, and I would just close my eyes for the entire time, and I would be lost within
Hmm.
the music.
Yeah.
And then as I interview people on my podcast, I interview creatives because I feel like creativity is where a lot of us have lost our connection to the
Hmm.
earth, ourselves,
Hmm.
the human race, the animals, everything. And I remember 2 years ago when I was making my vision board and it just came up again. It's like music is what feelings feel like. And that's something that still connects. Like
Yeah.
you can connect with the music. And so if you write it, if you sing it, if you hum it, if you chant it, if you play an
Hmm.
instrument, like there's something there
Yeah.
that helps you realign your frequency.
Even just listening to it, right? Like
Yes.
I So for people who are listening who have never heard of ecstatic dance before, it really is just like such a beautiful space, and it's just free form dance. Like you just yeah, it's I have had so many moments where not even it wasn't even at an ecstatic dance event, but it's like that same energy where I'm just like losing myself to dance and not
Mhm.
caring what other people think at all. And it is the best feeling in the world, maybe other than, creating music for me. Yeah, that's really cool that you bring that up because I think it really can be so healing. And I also think that so many people write it off as a way to heal because they think that they're not a singer or not a musician, not a creative, all of these labels that we give ourselves. But I really believe that music is part of us. It comes
Mhm.
back to that aspect of frequency that you're talking about, right? And so, yeah,
We really are frequency.
Mhm,
We're frequency, like our bodies, everything, colors. We see colors, different colors because of the frequency.
mhm,
Like
mhm,
we're frequency.
absolutely. And wow, I mean, are you doing ecstatic dance like regularly, or have you just do it on your own now? Like, how have you integrated that back into your practice as you came across it
Yeah.
again?
Oh, I love that you asked that question because I was like, my mind was like, "Eh." So I'm blessed enough that we have a place here that did ecstatic dance. They've moved on for a week every week. So I was able
Mm,
to go once a month or so. And now I'm part of a community called Sacred City,
hmm.
who we do kirtan every other Friday, and then we do ecstatic dance once a month. So
Cool.
we're able to do that. I also have been guided, like I'm still feeling into, and you'll notice my
Hmm.
card deck is called Dancing
Yes, I wanted
with
to talk about that as
Shadows and
well.
Stillness. And I didn't even know what that was about until just recently. Like when
Mm,
things like connect the dots.
yeah.
So the ecstatic dance is a part of my life for sure. And I love to go in community aspect with it. And honestly, I am feeling drawn eventually to I have a lot of DJ friends and to work with someone or to create an experience that is an ecstatic dance practice,
Hmm.
but also have my voice in there guiding you through somatics. So like
Mm,
as you're like having it pre-recorded, and you know how
mm,
you have those silent discos and stuff,
hmm.
like having that on, and then within the practice during certain songs, me guiding them saying, now feel into where your heart space is. What is that? So it's like a somatic dance, but also shadows.
Mm,
And then you get to come afterwards and talk in stillness and all of that. Yeah, so I'm glad
cool.
that you asked that because I think as a manifesting generator, I'm here to respond to things. And it's
Yeah.
been something that's been coming up for myself. I'm like, oh, I don't know who to reach out to. I don't know.
Yeah.
And people keep asking, like, what is it that you're doing with this? Or well, how do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And it does tie perfectly into your Oracle deck. So, when did you create your Oracle deck?
It took me about 2 years to
Mm,
create it. I
okay.
worked with someone. She did the images,
Hmm.
and I expressed to her like what I wanted on each card, what the energy I wanted on each card, what I wanted to feel like. So each card actually takes in the energy of human design,
Mm,
gene keys, astrology. So within a card, like when you look at a card, the
yeah.
color of the card is associated with the astrological sign it's in. So
Mm,
like Aries is red, like Taurus is green. So it's like those. Then I also have like the human design. So when people, if they want to learn about their chart, I have a
hmm.
guidebook where let's say you have the 48, you pull the card, you go to the guidebook. Within the guidebook, it will say, or the app too, the web app, it will
Hmm.
say what center it's in, what it means if it's defined, what it means if it's
Mm,
open, what circuitry it's in, what the keynotes are, what the gene keys, what the shadow, the gift, and the city is. So you
wow.
can use the deck as a way to learn about your chart
Cool.
and get the visual aspect as well. And you can use it as an intuitive guidance. Like if you don't want to use the deck and you're just intuitive,
Yeah.
there's so much in the picture that you just pull the card and it's like, okay, what's my eye drawn to? Like I just did this yesterday.
Mhm.
I pulled the 48, which is my conscious sun. And my eye was drawn to the person that was looking backwards. And what that means in the deck, it means is reflective. Okay, internal, what's coming internal with me right now with inadequacy and my wisdom.
Mm.
So you get to use it in an intuitive way, or you can use it as a tool to learn about all of your shadows and your human design.
Cool. I love
Mhm.
that. I haven't heard of a deck that incorporates human design.
Well, that
So,
makes me happy.
yeah. Yeah, it's so cool. And I love that it ties in with the dancing and music aspect that you didn't even plan for.
Can I share something? I
Yeah, of
want to share
course.
this. So I'm doing a little bit of work on my gene keys. I'm always learning.
Hmm.
And so I knew the dancing had to be there because it's always been my life. The shadow work I knew had to be there. In my culture sphere in Gene Keys, I have the 22,
Mm.
which is basically cultures like the environment, that your community aspect, which you're here to create within that environment.
Hmm.
And the 22 is all about learning to dive into your struggles, to
Hmm.
know that the outcome is the light, so the shadows. And then my stability sphere is the 52, which is stillness. And that's the one I just found out the other day. I was like,
Oh,
for
wow.
me to be in my creativity, I have to trust, because my 32 is my creative sphere. I have to trust through my own stillness, like stillness is so important for me, that
Hmm.
I will have the discernment in what needs to move forward to teach and what needs to be let go. And I was like,
Wow. Yeah,
yeah,
so the entire name of the deck is just completely you.
I couldn't believe it. And I didn't know it at that time.
Yeah, yeah.
You
That's so
know, like
cool.
I knew that stillness always grounded me, and I knew I loved dance, and I knew that I loved shadow work. That's it. And then to see all of those things afterwards,
Hmm.
like, oh my goodness.
It's
Yeah.
wild. Do you think that, like, on that note to shadow work, is that something? Because, so many people in the spiritual realm always talk about love and light. And I would love to hear, like, why do you think shadow work is so important?
I feel like with my life personally, I've been through a
Hmm.
lot of shadow stuff. I have, in the last few years, when I go and meet people, they tell me there's a light about me.
Mm.
And I truly, in my gut, know it's because I've had so much darkness that I've had to move through, to witness, to acknowledge, not to make it who I am, but it was part of my journey. And
Yeah.
I feel like you don't always have to be in the shadows,
Hmm.
but you have to let yourself be in there sometime to really get into some of the nitty gritty,
Hmm.
to be able to be authentically in the light. I feel like a lot of people bypass.
Yeah.
They're pretending. And it goes back to that frequency. Like
Mm.
they want to be the light, they want the positive, but the internal self, it's really like they're saying, oh, I should be this, otherwise I'm not going to be good enough. But they haven't done the work of the
Hmm.
shadow,
Hmm.
which is, I feel like the shadow is beautiful. So, yes, you want to be in the light, but you also want to be able to fluctuate between the shadows and the light.
Yeah.
And neither one is better than the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah. It's like a balancing act, right?
Yeah, and it goes to like the gene keys. Each gene key has a shadow, a gift, and a city. So really, when you're in those gene keys, you understand, okay, most of my life I'm going to be fluctuating between the gift and the shadow.
Mm.
Sometimes I'm going to get to that city for a moment, and that's
Yeah.
it. So it's like, am I in the shadow? What can I do to embrace this and move into the gift automatically? So the shadow has to be witnessed, acknowledged, loved, not bypassed.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you for sharing. I just think that's so important because, that's why we're here talking about wellness on this podcast, right? It's like the music can be heavy or light, it can be dark or fun and upbeat. Music could be so many different things, but I think in general, a lot of people don't want to look at the dark stuff. They don't want to look at the heavy things, or they'll just say, well, I don't have any like shadows or trauma, like, but it's just not true.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah.
But anyway, before I get totally off topic, we're almost at the hour mark. So I wanted to ask you this, I ask every guest who comes on to this podcast, is there one or multiple songs that have saved your life or changed your life in some way?
Forgot that you were going to ask that. So, um, and I'm hoping I pronounced this right. A huge one for me is the Yawanawa tribe. They sing this song Tongare, Tongre, I believe it means, or Gue, something like that. It means hummingbird. And this song, even though I don't exactly know all of the words,
Mhm.
it brings up this energy, deep ancestral screaming from my gut. And I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I brought it. It was when I was listening to Egypt, when I went to Egypt and I was going through all that stuff. I didn't talk about it, but there was definitely stuff coming up as far as my spine and abandonment and exile. And
Wow.
that song was with me then, and it's still with me. Like there's a feeling of like ancestral screaming
Mm-hmm.
to be heard
Mm.
that comes up. And it's just a vibrational frequency that fills my body. So I don't know what it means, but I
Yeah.
know it feels like something. And every time I hear it, there's something there. So that is a song, and that whole tribe
Mm-hmm.
is definitely something that I'm feeling drawn to because there's other dots. Like
Yeah.
I met someone that actually goes to their diet thing every year, and it's like there's
Mm.
something there. So it's the
Cool.
Yawanawa tribe. Mhm.
Yeah. Do you said it makes you feel like ancestral screaming. Does that make you feel like comforted or powerful, or how would you like, what are some words to?
It makes me feel like I'm releasing
Mm.
something. Honestly, it feels like I'm doing the work for them. That's what
Wow.
I'm here doing. Like there's
Interesting.
something with voice, screaming, ancestors,
Yeah.
something is there and it doesn't feel scary.
Hmm.
It feels it feels like home almost,
Cool.
you know? Yeah,
Kind of
it's
maybe
so funny because I
comforting.
went to a friend's house a couple years ago and I was laying down and their roommate, I heard music in the distance. I
Hmm.
was like, "Oh my gosh, I love that music." And then come to find out it was him chanting
Mm.
and it was the Yawanawa tribe. And that was 2 years after I had already loved them and gone to Egypt and done all the things.
Wow. Cool. I'm gonna have to find some of this music,
Yeah,
listen
it's
to
on
it.
Spotify. You can look it up.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you for sharing. It sounds like there's more to the story. We might have to have you back on for part two at some point because it sounds like this is part of the transformation of whatever this next era is for you, which is super cool.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Yeah.
would love to. Love to.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for being on my show today. Is there anything that I missed that you want to share with listeners about like any upcoming events or potentially, how can people find you, work with you, that sort of thing?
Definitely go check out my website and get your free chart. You get a lot of information on that. Also, my deck is out, Dancing with Shadows and Stillness. And this deck, the 48, like I've mentioned, is all about depth.
Mhm.
So when you purchase the deck, which is $55, for the first 100 people that purchase, you actually receive community access to a live call monthly for a year, and you receive a private podcast for a year. And it's at the founder's rate. So you get that for a year. And then after that, if you want to continue, it's $77. Whereas after the 100, it's going to be $222 for those that want to join that. So not only do
Awesome.
you get, and you get a mini course. So you get to learn, like, I put so much in the pictures. You
Hmm.
get to learn, like, what it means if the person is facing to the left. What does it mean to, why is this,
Mm.
what is the colors? So I go into all of that
Yeah.
so you understand and create a deep relationship with the cards.
Awesome. And
Mhm.
your community that is the container. You said you have monthly calls. So
Yes.
if people don't buy your deck, they can still join your community.
No.
No. Okay. So it's the only way to get in.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Unless you do the app. There is
Okay.
the web app, which
Hmm.
is the same price, $55. But that also, you get access to the community. You get access because I've had a lot of people overseas,
Hmm.
and with shipping and everything, it was a little too much. So they would get
Okay.
the app,
Oh, okay.
So you can do the app, and that is also, you get the community. Because what we do with the community is pull the cards, connect with the cards, go through shadow conversations, go
Hmm.
into whatever's showing up in that moment.
Yeah.
And then the podcast, I create a bi-weekly podcast, and I'm creating stories that go with the cards. So like you get to connect with a name and a person and the energy
Cool.
of the card through story. So that is the podcast. But yeah, you can also do that if you get the web app.
Awesome. Amazing. And so through the web app or the cards, you can join the community to learn more about all of your programming, or all of your offerings through that. And then but you do have some work, like one-on-one work,
Yes.
right?
Yes, I have a new opt-in that's called the Resonance opt-in.
Okay.
So if you want to kind of look at that too, I would suggest going into that on Instagram. You can find that on there. It goes into how I combine galactic, gene keys, and human design. And I also give a 17-minute meditation frequency type of thing. And then I also have voice activations that I am releasing bi-weekly for the transits of the gates.
Mhm.
I'm only offering them for about a week at a time because then I'm going to open the library afterwards. So if
Oh,
you
cool.
want to go in and get it for that week, you can, but then it's closed until the library is complete. And then, of course, I have either the Liberate Your Voice, where we go into voice activation in human design and gene keys, or the resonance mapping session, which is kind of like bringing all of the goodness together and see what you're here to do, where you're suppressing your voice, and all of that good stuff.
Very cool.
Mhm.
So many cool things to dive into. So, yes, for our listeners, check out Miranda's website. Lots to learn from her.
Thank
And
you.
yeah. So, thank you again for being here with that. For anybody who listened and found this helpful, if you want to go deeper, be sure to subscribe to the podcast. You can follow us on YouTube and anywhere that you find live streaming podcasts, and say hello on Instagram to both Miranda and myself. I'll have all of our social links at the bottom of each episode. So let's keep the conversation going. We want to hear if you went and got your chart and what you learned from Miranda in this episode. And also let us know if you guys have tried any kind of ecstatic dance or anything that we talked about on this episode. We want to hear how it resonates with you. So thank you again for listening. And until next week, stay healthy, wealthy, and wise.